He didn't make millions. He studied those who did. He didn't build a business empire. He built a philosophy that helped millions build their own. His name is Napoleon Hill. And his book, Think and Grow Rich, didn't just sell over 100 million copies. It created a blueprint for wealth that still shapes the world nearly a century later. Before mindset became a buzzword. Before manifestation was trending on TikTok. Napoleon Hill gave the world a powerful idea. Thoughts are things, not in some magical, mystical sense, but in a deeply practical way. Your thoughts shape your beliefs. Your beliefs drive your behavior, and your behavior creates your results. That insight turned Hill from an unknown journalist into one of the most influential thinkers in personal development and wealth psychology. But it didn't start that way. Napoleon Hill was born in 1883 in rural Virginia, a one-room cabin, no privilege, no access, no roadmap. He lost his mother at a young age, got into trouble as a teenager, and had every reason to settle for a small life. But there was something different about Hill. He was curious, hungry to understand how the world worked, and why some people succeeded while others never seemed to rise above their circumstances. That curiosity led him to a fateful interview in 1908. He was just 25 years old, writing articles to pay the bills, when he was assigned to interview steel magnate Andrew Carnegie. What was supposed to be a short meeting turned into 3 days. Carnegie was impressed by Hill and gave him a challenge that would define the rest of his life. He said, "I believe success can be studied. There are laws behind it, just like there are laws in nature, but someone has to organize them." He then asked Hill to dedicate the next 20 years of his life to interview the most successful men of the era and uncover the principles behind their wealth. He wouldn't be paid. There was no promise of fame, just a mission. Hill accepted. Over the next 2 decades, he interviewed more than 500 icons of success: Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, Alexander Graham Bell, the Wright brothers, John D. Rockefeller. The list goes on. What Hill discovered shocked him. These men were different, but not because of education or family money or natural talent. They were different because of how they thought. They believed deeply in their vision. They made decisions quickly. They persisted through failure. And they lived with a relentless sense of purpose. Hill organized his findings into a set of universal laws, and in 1937, he published Think and Grow Rich. It wasn't a book about money, it was a book about mindset, and it changed everything. Let's break down some of the most powerful ideas from Hill's work. Ideas that still guide millions of entrepreneurs, investors, and dreamers today. 1. Desire is the starting point of all achievement. Hill said, "Dreams are the seedlings of reality, but only when mixed with desire." Not a wish, not a vague hope, but a burning, definite desire that refuses to fade. He encouraged readers to get crystal clear on what they want. Write it down, repeat it daily, visualize it, feel it. Because repetition fuels belief, and belief fuels behavior. He called this your definite chief aim. Without it, you're drifting. With it, you're focused. 2. Faith is belief in action. Hill wasn't talking about religious faith. He meant the kind of belief you build through repetition, clarity, and emotion. He said, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." Faith isn't passive, it's built. Through affirmations, through visualization, through surrounding yourself with possibility, not pessimism. Faith turns doubt into discipline. 3. Autosuggestion is the key to reprogramming your mind. Autosuggestion is the process of feeding your subconscious mind with new ideas. Hill believed your subconscious can't distinguish between what's real and what's repeated. So if you tell yourself daily, "I am capable, I am becoming wealthy, I attract opportunities," your mind begins to accept that as fact. Most people let the world program their minds through fear, through news, through other people's limitations. But Hill said, take back control. Feed your mind what you want it to believe, and it will begin to shift your behavior to match that belief. 4. Specialized knowledge builds fortunes. General knowledge is everywhere, but specialized knowledge, combined with action, creates power. You don't need to know everything. You need to know the right things, deeply, and apply them with focus. Hill encouraged people to become lifelong learners, to study their field, to master their craft, and to keep investing in themselves long after school ends. 5. Persistence makes the difference. Hill studied hundreds of millionaires. He said the most common trait wasn't genius, it was grit. He wrote, "Persistence is to the character of man as carbon is to steel." Most people quit when they don't see quick results. The wealthy persist when no one is watching. They keep showing up when it's hard. They move forward when others retreat. If you're struggling right now, remember this. The people who win aren't the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who refused to stop. 6. Decision-making separates leaders from followers. Hill noticed that the most successful people made decisions quickly and changed them slowly. They trusted their instincts. They acted with clarity. They didn't need endless approval. In contrast, unsuccessful people waver. They ask everyone's opinion. They hesitate. They second-guess, and that hesitation costs them opportunity. Hill's advice? Make a decision, commit to it, adjust if needed, but don't live in indecision. 7. The mastermind principle is non-negotiable. Hill believed that no one becomes wealthy alone. He coined the term mastermind group, a small group of focused, committed individuals who challenge each other, share ideas, and hold one another accountable. He said, "No two minds ever come together without creating a third invisible force, a third mind." If you want to grow, find your circle, or build one. You need people who see your vision and call you higher. So how do you apply all of this today? Start simple. 1. Write down your definite chief aim. Be specific. Attach a date. Make it real. 2. Read it aloud, every morning and every night. Train your brain to focus, to expect, to believe. 3. Use affirmations and visualization. See yourself living the life you're building. Speak it into your subconscious. Let your mind adjust to the new identity. 4. Study something that moves you forward. Every day, even 10 minutes. Knowledge compounds. 5. Persist. Even when you're tired, even when nothing seems to be working. Especially then, because that's where most people quit, and the few who keep going win. Napoleon Hill didn't teach magic. He taught mastery, not of markets, but of mindset. And his message is as relevant now as ever. Your thoughts become things, but only if you believe them, feel them, act on them, and persist through resistance. If this message resonated with you, subscribe for more timeless wisdom on wealth and self-mastery. Share it with someone who needs to remember they are not limited by their past. And most of all, write your chief aim. Repeat it daily. Live like you already own it. Because success is no accident. It's created in the mind before it ever appears in the world.